Today, I'm so pleased to welcome Shayla, founder of Bitcoin Junior Club and member of Bitcoin Film Fest. Welcome to the Bitcoin Edge, Shayla.
Hi, Paula. Thank you very much for your time for this invitation. Yeah, thank you.
It's wonderful to see you. So before we get to all the exciting stuff, well, this is exciting too. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you were born, where you're from, and what you're doing with your time.
So I think we can record the entire episode just talking about it and that. But yeah, and now being more serious, I don't want to bore anyone too much with my story. But I was born in Poland. I was raised in Poland and partially Germany as well. I have like multicultural background when it comes to my family. Yeah, I am naturally born nomad or gypsy, as my friends are calling me. Living happy nomad life with my husband, like traveling different places, mostly around Europe. So yeah, that's about me. Yeah, my let's say personal background, professional background. Yeah, I spent most of my life in the marketing, like both offline and online, including branding, working for big corporations, which I don't regret because it just proved me that the entire world is not working how it should. Yeah, I like to call myself like a sharp mind with a creative soul because I'm from one side, like I think analytically, like I like analytical thinking, logical thinking. On the other hand, I love also creative stuff. So I do a lot of drawing, designing. Yeah. So yeah, that's shortly about me. Not to prolong this part.
It is unusual to find somebody with you're very good at both the analytical and the creative. So that's
Yeah,
exciting.
that's probably because of my parents. Like in theory, you can say that my parents, as two individuals, like looking at their interests, their personalities, they never ever should have been together. But here it comes. The universe probably brought them together so that I could be alive. So my father is very technical, like he was studying mathematics and physics. He's also, by the way, like an educator, not to confuse with a teacher, engineering brain. My mom, on the other hand, is like pure into this, humanistic side of things. She used to be a language teacher and also art teacher. So like two completely different worlds. And it looks like maybe I took some of them when it comes to genetics, maybe some patterns they were teaching me, or I was just observing naturally. I don't know, but yeah, it's very interesting. Though I like to say and observing, for example, like younger people, like kids especially, everything is the same. So let's say language. Somebody can say, I cannot learn languages because I'm too technical or I have engineering brain, where just the opposite, like language is pure mathematics. The entire world, it depends on how you look at the things. The entire world is either mathematics, you can translate it into numbers and geometry, or if you are more creative, you can see in this geometry and numbers like the entire, let's say, harmony of and complexity. So I think every human brain has these things. It's more about what they liked before and what they sharpen, let's say, through their life journey.
Well, it must be nice to see the world from both ways.
It's sometimes also tiring, I would say, probably mostly for my surrounding. And this is a shout out and a big thank you to my husband who can handle me because additionally I'm kind of hyperactive or my brain is hyperactive. Maybe that's why I can handle also so many different things. But yeah, it is interesting. Yes, I never thought about it. I don't question myself, let's say, or myself as I understand myself anymore. So I kind of made a peace with myself. I accepted who I am. I just try to use my skills and try to be careful when it comes to my let's say problems or my personal problems, and then that's it. I kind of, yeah, I don't question myself that much anymore. I question my actions.
So, what led you to Bitcoin?
What led me to Bitcoin? I think freedom. Yeah, the natural crave for freedom and hope. So definitely Bitcoin is something that brought back this hope and humanity in me. I had periods in my life when I was doubting all these things, and I was actually very frustrated with the work that I was performing, with the surrounding, with geopolitical actions all around us repeating themselves. Also, history being repeated because of human actions. And I think Bitcoin brought me back this hope and some kind of balance, or yeah, balance. I can say it like this, mentally and physically. So this is what brought me. But even before that, I think it was curiosity.
So, were you working in your corporate world and you found Bitcoin that while you were still working in the corporate world?
Well, I like to say that actually Bitcoin found me in the moment that I was mature enough to understand its potential. So, yes, I was in my corporate world when I started studying it, let's say full time. And actually, that corporate journey helped me. So I've heard, like, let's say, long story short. So I've heard first time probably the word Bitcoin, maybe like 2015, 16. I didn't put too much attention. I ignored it. I understood it as, yeah, again, some crazy money, some digital money, whatever tech. My husband actually for the same. I even kind of remember that. I just don't remember which year was that we just asked each other, what do we think about this thing? And then we just forgot about the topic. And then it was until I would say the block size wars that we both took it more serious. He brought it back home once again. And then we just had a serious chat. We just decided, okay, let's learn. If somebody is fighting so much and trying to impact it and people are fighting back, there should be something behind. Like, maybe long story short, I might be just missing some points. But additionally, like, coming back to my corporate background, so I used to work in, yeah, first like big corporations. So you see structures, hierarchies, mental slavery, the entire mechanisms that are behind this world. Though I have to say that only once in my entire career I've been working in a typical corporation that you have to really behave like a slave. Otherwise, and maybe that's why I was even more cautious, because I noticed that everyone is so friendly and we are so quote unquote free, but people are mentally enslaved. Second, I moved to social trading area, which is very close to, I don't know if are you familiar with social trading? So it's something like, long story short, again, like it's based on the stock market, but people are literally selling their ideas and their portfolios, or the ideas of portfolios, and they are investing in certificates. Yeah, it's quite complex. And then I was already, let's say, Bitcoin aware. And then I thought like, wow, this will be so cool. If people are investing, maybe we should bring the topic of Bitcoin. And then I had a colleague who was not yet, say, already even orange pill in a soft way, but he was curious about the topic. And we prepared a lot of work, around some big campaign. I was also running a media house, like having different publishers, journalists to work with. And then the boss, like a big boss, came and he said like, yeah, this is all scam, this is Ponzi. And the more I was learning how the stock exchange works, I was like, what? Seriously, man, how you can even say that? Like, and it even convinced me more that Bitcoin is the thing, to study it. Then I moved from the social trading to the banking industry. And again, a very similar story. I realized that people working in the banking industry, it doesn't matter how smart and nice they are, they are also narrow-minded. They are also repeating what they were taught. They are not looking for other questions, topics. They don't want to see things like out of the box, like more. I also saw how, again, this system is corrupted. Already that time I was studying quite a lot, let's say, aside Bitcoin, let's say monetary banking, yeah, again, geopolitics, because this is partially my area of interest. And then I just realized that this is all wrong. So, and extra to that as well, I can say, yeah, data. So in all these jobs, I've been working a lot with users' data. So actually, much before Bitcoin, I became like privacy sensitive, because I realized that we are all products in how these big monopolies, Google, Facebook, okay, not to even like mention names, how they are using us. And very similar to the Matrix world, they are just soaking our energy. We are just really products. And then that many people, even in departments that we were working together, they didn't care. Like, they ignored this thing. They were just like giving up, saying, oh, you cannot escape it or whatever. So yeah, all these things together combined made this kind of like a magic syrup, so to say, that once got into me, or I decided to drink, and then I even quit my professional career. I was, let's say, unemployed for a while, though working a lot. I devoted myself to Bitcoin. So yeah, altogether, I can say it's Bitcoin that found me, not that I found Bitcoin, just in the moment that I was ready.
I love that. I love that, Bitcoin found you. And I kind of say that about books. Books find me when I'm ready for them. So I
Oh,
like to
that's
hear
so you were a
Bitcoin.
bookworm.
Well, now I'm mostly focused on Bitcoin. So I'm trying to learn everything I can. But yeah,
Yeah, but you know, this is a topic very often discussed in many different groups. What's Bitcoin, let's say book, what's Bitcoin movie? Like for me, I don't know if you read it, it's a very pleasant short story, easy to remember. The richest man in Babylon or of Babylon.
I
This
haven't.
is officially, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin, but for me, this is a Bitcoin book. Orwell's The Brave New World, We from Yevgeny. I'm super bad with names. So, like all these dystopian novels, they are old and they have nothing in theory to do with Bitcoin, but they are pure like pure food for Bitcoiners. And even better, if you are not into Bitcoin, if you start reading them, maybe it will also stimulate you and trigger. So I got your point that you are trying to probably also learn a lot because a lot is happening and evolving. But on the other hand, there are so many great lectures or reads that are not directly dedicated to Bitcoin, though they resonate with Bitcoin.
I absolutely agree. And I started with those books. So I
Mm.
read a lot of those books first and then found Bitcoin. And once you got out of your corporate world, did your husband also got out of his?
I mean, he is not working in a corporate world per se. He is a freelancer, so he has his own company. So he left. He was actually one of the first people that I ever met in my life who started working from home. So we are talking about like what, 10, 15 years ago. That
Wow.
was not still very popular. So he quit being enslaved by a system from this point of view, at least, or from this perspective, quite a long time ago. He is still working in a fiat world. We have quite often, actually, yeah. This is like, let's say, I don't want to talk about him too much, but I've been working in the banking industry. His area of expertise, so he's working with data, like this is BI, so business intelligence. And he's mostly his clients are also having a lot of interesting information. So it helped us from my, let's say, areas of this banking, monetary, financial world, and his different areas that are usually similar. We learned a lot again about how rotten the system is. So he still keeps his job because you need to also make your living. Somehow we had this discussion whether we should both transition like Bitcoin only work in there. But I think we are not the only one. I hear it quite often that Bitcoiners have this kind of fight inside. What should I do? So he is mining fiat to buy Bitcoin and to support our projects. Yeah, having fiat, and I try my best to earn Bitcoin. So yes.
That's wonderful. That's similar to I'm kind of tired of my work in the corporate world and also dealing with people who are not. I find people who focus on Bitcoin have such a wonderful approach. Yes, I know there are some that get into one area and another area, but I'm talking as a general group of people.
Yeah,
They're wonderful, looking to improve themselves, looking for health,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you.
That's why I said that it all gave me this hope, like it gave me back a hope into humanity. Because honestly, Bitcoiners are, I mean, not to of course say that everyone is perfect. Nobody is perfect, and that's actually that's what makes this world interesting. That we are all different and we have some drawbacks and we are making mistakes. As long as we can learn from them, all good. But overall, yeah, Bitcoiners are people who have values, who have integrity, who are very friendly, who are not too judgmental. Mostly, and the majority of them, critical thinkers and really like sovereign people who are trying to make their life free, healthier, better. Maybe because of this long time perspective, or as we used to, as we say in Bitcoin, long time preference. Probably because of that. But yeah, amazing people. I feel very empowered every time I spend some time with them. Even now, you see, we have this conversation, and I like we don't know each other, and I already feel like I know you and I like you, and I would love to learn more about you. So
Yeah, I love it. And well, I want to learn about you first. So tell us about the Bitcoin Junior Club. How did you come up with
like
that?
how did it happen? Like how the idea? So Bitcoin Junior Club, I think it was in my mind for quite a long time. So again, just like a touch point to my private life. So we are nomads, we are traveling different places, and quite often we are staying in somebody's houses. So we are just renting a room or some part of the house. Yeah, we are trying to avoid like this corporate, let's say, rentals. So whenever it happens that you are able to stay in somebody's house, so let's say your hosts are your neighbors, quite often they have kids. So as a Bitcoiner, we all have this kind of thing. When you learn about Bitcoin, you want to evangelize and you want to change everyone. You just want to go and shout and say, yeah, Bitcoin is amazing, learn Bitcoin. But after some time, you realize that it doesn't work this way. You attack people, you make them scared, stressed, or you just meet wrong people and you burn your energy. So the more you understand Bitcoin, the more you appreciate your time and energy, and so on and so forth, right? So I was just thinking about soft ways how to orange pill people. And that's why I also started doing some simple merchandise and so on and so forth. But for the junior club coming to that point, so yeah, I thought kids, because kids are like the purest and the most curious creatures, right? And everyone has kids, and maybe through kids you can also get to parents. So I started in my, so to say, free time at night when I'm like very tired doing technical stuff. I like drawing, I like designing things. So I started producing some simple creative pages. Also because I think we are having this kind of like lack of thinking disease these days. And it's very dangerous for kids. So I started doing them, reworking, let's say, some popular patterns like Winnie the Pooh, or just drawing my own stuff. I also designed these Satoshi bears, like funny bears, to teach different skills. And then also introduce the topic of Bitcoin, but not to teach Bitcoin directly. And I was just giving very often these worksheets to our host kids and playing with them, also like asking questions, also learning if my work is valuable for them, interesting, and so on and so forth. And very often they were proud and going to their parents saying, oh, look, mommy, what have I done? And that was a test for the parents to recognize a Bitcoin logo or not. And generally then they were curious and coming saying like, oh, so what are you doing? What is this whole thing? Bitcoin is just technical money. So how, like, what's your role? Who are you, right? And then it happened a couple of times that you can provide them with resources. I'm also let's say a member of the European Bitcoiners. So we translate and produce a lot of written content, translations as well of the existing external content. So I know all these things, so then I can provide some places that I trust to adults, and then it ensured me that I should continue with this kid stuff. I was just thinking how to do it broader, what kind of resources there are, who is working on something similar, who is also working on topics that are not directly about Bitcoin and financial education, but also critical thinking, creativity. The more I also started joining Bitcoin conferences, because we used to have a break in the past, I realized meeting, which was and is always amazing, meeting also teenagers and kids, I realized that we impose on them, we as adults, our way of perceiving things and our desire of teaching them stuff. So most of the, with full respect, resources are pretty boring. I mean, kids are not generally interested in money, so why they should learn about better money? Or not all of them, they like reading books, right? So I was like digging deeper and deeper and deeper what's in this space. I realized myself that it's not very easy to find these things. On the other hand, talking to all these teenagers and older kiddos, I also realized that they have different needs, and that sometimes because, okay, let's be honest, these kids are very often coming from Bitcoin families, or at least one of the parents is a Bitcoiner, right? That's why they're coming to Bitcoin conferences. So they are very often having this divided reality, where at home and in, let's say, during these conferences, they are surrounded by people who understand what they are talking about. They can be fully themselves talk about Bitcoin, but when they go to school, when they are meeting their friends, peers, then they should either stop thinking about this topic, right? Or they have problem how to explain it, how to make it reasonable, or what kind of resources to provide. Like, think about yourself, myself, even as I mentioned, if somebody my age, like an adult comes and asks, okay, what should I read? What should I watch? What should I listen to learn more about Bitcoin? You can just give so many resources. When you are a teenager, a young adult, or a kid, what you can provide, like, it's very difficult. So altogether, it just exploded in this, like, let's do this Bitcoin Junior Club. So it's not targeting actually only kiddos, though it can from a very, very young age. So it should be like young kids, teenagers, and young adults as well. So young adults, I speak of people, let's say, in the early 20s. plus mentors, parents, aunties, uncles, and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is how it started. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't have time and I didn't plan to promote it or to bring it too much to the public this year. I put really a lot of work on expanding the website, doing the research, building all the pages, because this is where I see the value for the end user. I didn't really have more time to, let's say, build the exposure in social media or whatever. But then it happened. I will have to because yeah, I was lucky enough to collaborate with adopting Bitcoin this year in El Salvador. So I have to speed up a couple of things. But yeah, that's long story short behind Bitcoin Junior Club. It has, I think, a nice future, nice niche, and from what yeah, it's covering nice niche, and from what I see, like receiving quite many amazing messages, it looks like people find it very valuable. So yeah, if that answered your question.
Wonderful. So I love what you said about educating children and young adults. And I was also thinking, because I want to orange pill the people that I love. So my
Yeah,
19-year-old niece, who does own Bitcoin because I switched her gold into Bitcoin, and she knows it's
great.
doubled in price. I thought that might interest her. She's not that interested. And I had one of my young guests from South Africa tell me what he'd tell to orange pill her. And he talked about inflation and how the cost of goods are going up, and she knew about
Mhm.
that. But I think what's missing for some people is there has to be a desire to know, and then it would be a good idea to understand what money is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anyway, you are a great auntie that you are ensuring her future whenever she is ready. She can use that. I hope she will get ready one day, and then she will really appreciate having you. But I fully agree with what you said. We need to have desire. Like generally, that's why very often I don't see much sense in going to people and shouting, "Hey, this is Bitcoin, learn about it," because it's amazing. Everyone has different problems, everyone has different focus, everyone has different momentum, so to say. That's why there is a kind of a wisdom in this saying, though I understand it differently than it sounds. Everyone gets their Bitcoin at the price they deserve. I don't look at it from the price perspective because I also don't see much sense in calculating Bitcoin's value in fiat. But it's kind of like showing how the ecosystem is developed already or mature, and then that's why more or less what the price is indicating. So it means like literally when you are in the cycle to get into this space, to get into Bitcoin, right? So especially with with people in their, let's say, like young adults, they are also craving to explore the world, to learn things on their own. They don't really care yet about money, especially if you see so much inflation. If you are aware of that, I noticed in the Western Hemisphere, we don't care about tomorrow. This is also a big problem that the rotten, let's say, fiat money and culture is imposing into our brains. We don't care about tomorrow. If you know that there is inflation, if you know that money doesn't work, but you don't care why, you don't really see a point in saving and learning about it because you don't find it valuable. So actually, this is a very good thing if you notice such a seed in somebody's brain, to take it as a topic and maybe start working from this area. Okay, like future, or yeah, I don't know, because everyone is different, everyone has also different perception. That's why I believe that we should have more resources for kids, not only books. Yeah, I just, yeah, what I can say for your niece, I just hope that she will finally get it. Like I wouldn't like to give any advice here or anything because I don't know her, and she's an individual that has her own needs and focus.
Yeah, well, it's not just my niece, right? It's all of my family and extended family that even show a little bit of interest. It's just like you started your course on, well, how can I improve orange pilling people? I
Yeah.
always wonder, well, what's the missing link that's going to get them to see?
Let's say I'm the only child, so obviously my family is very worried. Though they are not, let's say, exaggerating with their worry, but I mean, I'm traveling a lot, I'm doing different things. They don't question it too much. They kind of like automatically approve it, but they are also worried, and that's why they are asking how I'm doing, where I am, and so on and so forth. So I think I assure them that Bitcoin is nothing wrong or is nothing scary when I look happy, when I look satisfied, when I'm sharing my stories, who I've met, for whom or with whom I did something. So they just notice that it's nothing like creepy. Sure, it's not scam. Um, Especially that I know, let's say my grandma, she is also conspiracy theorist, so I can tell her a little bit of this side. My father is into like values, integrity, also education. I bring him this kind of story, so I'm aware, and knowing each of my family members and close friends, I know them more, and I know what can kind of trigger them, what is close to their heart, and each of these things exist in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So if you are happy, if you are healthy, if you are not like stressed, like an average Joe going to work and all the time like crying or being aggressive, if you are like this, and extra you can share some small anecdotes, you're meeting especially like so many probably amazing people doing your show, then if you bring it as stories not about Bitcoin but about your work, but this work is also related to Bitcoin, then they will get more familiar and maybe start asking questions themselves. These kind of things might work for many people.
So what I'm hearing is meet people where they are.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's sometimes not so easy to see exactly where they are, but I just do the best I can.
Yeah. Yeah, but also on the other hand, I mean, if you love somebody, I know if we love somebody, we want their best, but sometimes we are trying to impose their best from our perspective. So this is also like a toxic love, if you know what I mean. So yeah, if you love them, be happy and healthy, be next to them, try in between, I call it like brainwash them in a healthy way so that they are aware you are working with this whole Bitcoin crazy people and something with this Bitcoin thing, but don't impose the topic. Don't maybe waste your energy and time on pushing them, because you might be missing these beautiful points, like human points, to spend time together. Just give them time and space. Yeah, we have these tendencies as human beings, that we wanna, yeah, if I love you and I think drinking tea for you is good, I prepare the tea and I push you to drink tea. But maybe you don't feel like, maybe not now. Yeah, but you like tea. Yeah, but not now, like, so yeah, I mean, human beings are very complex creatures. So yeah.
I hear you on that. You're absolutely right. Nobody wants to be told what to do.
Yeah.
It's planting seeds and being kind, and like you said, living by example. You mentioned humanity is suffering from rotten culture. Can you
Yeah.
expand on that a little bit?
So what I mean by that is, yeah, first of all, these old school values and manners are disappearing or fading away. Second, a lot of aesthetics is also getting destroyed. I don't know if on purpose or because the money is losing more and more value every day. And sometimes I'm just like wondering whether it's degeneration or it's like programming, because there is a lot of programming in our culture as well. So, like a friend of mine recently shared a photo of Balenciaga. They are launching a new shoe line that looks super ugly. It looks like worn out shoes. I don't know if you notice, and it's like around $2,000. And I'm like, whoa. So is it a reflection of our society from,
Wow.
people don't care about aesthetics and they want to have crumpy, ugly, disgusting things? Or is it programming? They are trying to prepare us that, if an expensive luxury brand is selling such shoes, if you cannot afford new shoes, you should feel fine. Like, you know what I mean? So there's like two sides of the coin. So the culture overall is like losing it's losing itself, or we are losing ourselves as human beings. Like Yoni Appleberg, if you like reading, this is a nice book I can recommend. He wrote a book called Abundance Through Scarcity, where he's presenting through different civilizations and different cultures how human beings can flourish, especially based on what we already achieved now, or how they can destroy themselves. So I think currently we are really like 50-50 into this, like destroying ourselves, because the culture is becoming more shallow than ever. People are becoming more stressed and aggressive than ever, more narrow-minded than ever, divided, polarized, lacking their own opinions, missing thinking. And it starts in the entire system that we are living in, when it comes to schools, when it comes to media, values at home. The entire system is designed in a way that you are kind of like more enslaved, more robotic, more this but less human than ever. So if I answered your question.
So would you say that the media is programming us in a way, and because the fiat system is broken, it's causing a lot of people to have high time preference where they would spend $2,000 on shoes rather than we.
Ugly shoes that looks like I don't know, 200 years ago people were already wearing them. Yes, as well. So media definitely, movies, films, like yeah. So agree with what you said, but I think it's more complex than that. So definitely media is programming movies. So the entire entertainment industry as well is programming us. And it's also deciding and let's say censoring people who are working in there. Yeah, so the entire entertainment industry as well, the entire, let's say, infrastructure and different industries working the same, because if you go to work somewhere, you are having again some specific patterns, behaviors, you have to be obedient, all different narratives that are sold to us when it comes to food, when it comes to politics, when it comes to climate. So it's much more than media. The whole, like how I see it, to simplify it, the money is broken, right? As Lynn Alden, referring to books, wrote in an amazing, by the way, piece. So the money is broken. So they are printing it more and more. The inflation is going higher, but they need to keep this economy running so that they will be increasing. I mean, this money is debt, literally. Like there is nothing, it's just empty. But in order to make this entire machine working, and there are so many tiny elements, they will make consumption higher. They will make quality of products lower. They will increase your crave for buying things, for specific behaviors, for the way that you observe things. And in what you believe. So this is a huge laboratory, like a huge lab. We are just rats. And yeah, it's all because the money is broken. This money doesn't have any value, and I think it went so far that they cannot stop it. They cannot fix it. I mean, the nation, like each of the countries, the national debt is crazy. Also, like the many countries are in debt in dollar, like how they enslaved so many different countries in dollar. Or still, we don't have colonies, but I mean, you are from Zimbabwe, so one of the countries still have this franc. I forgot the name. You know what I'm talking about? That one of the countries in Africa, they are having this fake money that the French government or the bank is issuing, right? Like this is crazy. This is still colonialism. Also, it's colonialism that you are making others depending on the US dollar, and then you print it as much as you want. Like, I don't want to even talk about all these things too much, because it's a huge and very complex topic. I don't also want to say something that will be misunderstood. But yes, money is broken, and because this money is broken in our lives and everything is built on it, everything is also broken. Yeah, but we are rebuilding it thanks to sound money, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, exactly. So many things in our life are broken because the money is broken. And what I wanted to ask you is that why you don't focus too much on price? Because one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. We need a
Yeah.
whole new way of doing things with only a limited supply and an honest ledger.
Yeah, yes, this is one of the reasons. Nicely said. I like to hear it. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Exactly. And I also don't like to think about price, because I know that as a human being born into the fiat system, I can be just tempted with changing my behaviors, with maybe checking the price more often, with getting more emotional about it. I don't want to, if let's say money is time and energy, right? And Bitcoin is time and energy. I don't want to waste my Bitcoin and myself in spending my time and energy on something that is not productive, that is not contributing in theory to the better future, to my actions. So that's why. But yeah, a long story short is because I know one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Of course, it's hard to say how, if ever, the fully Bitcoinized world, when we will be living on a Bitcoin standard, will look like. What will be, and how the prices of valuation will change. But there are already places you can like pay in Bitcoin. You can live on Bitcoin, though still this pricing is like difficult to adjust, because unfortunately many of the people who are pricing their things, they are depending on fiat. But I just simply prefer not to think about it this way. So the price is more for me an indicator on where we are in this entire cycle. Of course, there are many external factors that are impacting it as well, a lot of games. And yeah, again, long story to discuss, but overall, I prefer to ignore it. I'm not checking it. My goal is to build, to keep building, to connect with people, to help people, to be happy, healthy, and then to accumulate as many sats as possible.
And to be free, because you are really
Yes.
living example of living freedom.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, to be freed, or to to continue being free, or even freeing myself more and more, because we do have many different bias, and we can still have a lot of imprinted patterns in our brain that are keeping us enslaved. I don't also want to be like, I'm not, I'm not trying to be perfect, and this is my own approach. I'm not saying it's the right way or the wrong way. I'm not trying to be 100% perfect, because if we are all perfect, then I don't know if it makes sense to be alive. But if your mission is, or if your goal is to be better than you were yesterday, then it's already great. But not paying all costs, like not all the price, right? So yeah, improve. But first of all, enjoy every single moment of this particular life here and now as you have, and everything that you are given, people, weather, experiences. Yeah.
I agree. That's one reason I started doing this. I wasn't enjoying my job anymore. A
Hmm.
friend of mine died suddenly in a car accident, and I realized how quickly life can be over and
Yeah,
how important it is to spend time doing what you love and
absolutely.
be happy, right? Because as best we can and
Yeah,
enjoy the moment, what's important, family, friends,
exactly. Yes.
travel.
So I'm sorry to hear about your loss, but on the other hand, yeah, in every single thing that we are experiencing, there is a lesson for us. I used to question, like, ask my father a lot, like, why there are so many bad and negative things around us. And he always repeated something more or less like, if there wouldn't be pain, there would be happiness. If you wouldn't hit yourself and had a bruise on your knee, you wouldn't learn that you should be careful, or that this is how it hurts. And then, so yeah, there is balance, like the same as the weather, seasons of the year, the night, day. There is nothing that is like bad or wrong. It's just like this yin and yang balance, really. Yeah, the universe is actually incredible. Yes, so we
It
should
is.
just,
It's like you
yes.
said, it's how we choose to see it, right? Everything is
Yes,
about
exactly. It's the
perspective.
glass, but of course, there is also a very thin line, to be like too optimistic, and sometimes, in this sense, naive. And then a lot of people can hurt you, or you can let to be hurt, like let yourself being hurt. So yeah, it's not about being vulnerable. It's also very important not to be naive, and to be firm and consistent about who you are. But I think this journey starts with, if you like yourself, and it's not like about having ego, because this is our enemy, but about understanding who you are, accepting anything you might not like about yourself. Maybe some people like these things. Try to improve it if you think it's such a big drawback, right? But you need to know who you are. You need to come to this mental maturity to be able to grasp your person as a human being, then accept it. If you don't accept some part, try to improve, and just keep going, because yeah, also many people, they see you differently than you perceive yourself. Just enjoy every single moment, and yeah, everything that is in this world.
Yeah, I love that. It also reminds me, if I'm not good to myself, kind to myself, and accept myself, how can I give that to anybody else?
Yes,
It
absolutely. And you also give this signal to others that they shouldn't also appreciate you, or maybe they will feel pity. And it's actually very unhealthy for others to feel pity for you, because then they will treat you also different. They will not be very honest, let's say, right? They will be like over careful. So, yes, very nicely said. Fully agree with what you just said. Yes.
So that brings me back to Bitcoin. How has Bitcoin changed you?
How Bitcoin changed me. As I mentioned at the very beginning, it gave me back this hope, a lot of energy, like good energy, good vibes, probably related to the hope, the results, meeting so many incredible people, seeing how we are proceeding. So yeah, it made me a happier person, definitely. I think I am generally like cheerful, a little bit even childish in a sense. Also, yeah, hyperactive and bad tempered. So my energy levels are, very high, from super happy to super down, but overall it just comes and goes. The happiness stays. It helped me to be more positive, and also to appreciate some stuff more, like myself even. But it's Bitcoin directly, or so yeah, that's the question. Is it Bitcoin directly, or is it thanks to Bitcoin finally the environment I found myself in, or I put myself in, because I did it consciously. I took the risk, in theory, right? A risk for many people. So it is through Bitcoin and thanks to Bitcoin, but I wouldn't also put this label that Bitcoin is really fixing everything. Bitcoin cannot fix you as a human being. It can fix a lot of things, and it's already doing it all around the world, helping unprivileged people and people who never ever had a chance to have normal lives, normal in our Western standards. So it is fixing many things, but Bitcoin is not able to fix humanity directly. It can help the humanity to flourish, to be back to the roots, like to some values, but it cannot directly fix it. Bitcoin is, in theory, just a tool and technology. It is money, but it can impact, inspire, motivate, and enlighten people, as many other topics as well. So there are a lot of freedom seekers, people who didn't discover Bitcoin yet, but they are already on the same track. So they are Bitcoiners not holding any Bitcoin yet. I met a lot of people like this on my way, and I'm also not pushing them, but I'm trying to suggest in a soft way that they can be also interested in Bitcoin. But they are already, for me, Bitcoiners, not just holders.
I like that reminder. Bitcoin is a tool. It doesn't change everything. It changes a lot. And one of the things I love is it took me on so many different paths of study, and I would never have thought that money could change the world. I had no idea that at a base layer that could make such a difference to so many
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I had similar story, probably many people, that you are not aware how the entire system works. And even, let's say, if we are reading the best books and listening to hundreds of hours of podcasts, and now there's, thanks to the internet, we have access to more information than ever. Of course, if you know how to write for the right tools, the right sources. Still, how many things we will never learn? Like so many things in the history, they are lost, they are destroyed. Either Mongols or Europeans, what we did in many different countries. How many things will never be revealed because they are too top secret? Like, and knowing what we already know, seeing how these things are manipulated, built on purpose, or how manipulative they became, maybe even being born from a good cause, and comparing it to how much we don't know, it's just like mind-blowing. It's sometimes better not to know, but on the other hand, it's great to be aware that yes, literally money, like, yeah, fix the money, fix the world, because most of the evil we see in the world that we are aware of, and then think how much we are not aware of, is because of this broken money. Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff there. I did want to ask you about your Bitcoin Film Fest. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, Bitcoin Film Fest. Look, I even have a T-shirt from our this year's edition with
Cool.
our mascot, yeah, Mr. Rabbit. So Bitcoin Film Fest. So okay, so this is like a project we are running with a couple of friends, activists, Bitcoiners, and it works two ways. So first of all, it's like all year project, serving as a hub, knowledge hub, also like a networking hub for filmmakers, cinema fans. Yeah, knowledge from a sense that you can get a preview what's happening in this binema, as we call, so independent cinema space, with content not only 100% about Bitcoin, but mostly. So this is, yeah, this one side of the project. On the other hand, it is an annual event, cultural event. I wouldn't call it a conference because it's really like film screenings, premieres, meeting directors, actors, many different creators, artists, musicians, one huge party, and great movies in the proper cinema. So this is like long story short about Bitcoin Film Fest. Maybe just to add, yeah, we are doing it not even necessary for ourselves, because as I mentioned, we are a small team. And I think we are doing a lot of things considering our limited time and resources, but we are doing it to really help these creators because we all believe that the mass culture or mass media, they are also rotten programming. A lot of talented people, creative people are getting blocked, censored. We want to help them. We want to give them a platform to be heard and seen. also among Bitcoiners, there are many people who gave up on watching movies and films because, yeah, they have enough of, let's say, I don't know what's happening with the heroes and, you know, some specific narratives that are in the content. So yeah, we are doing it for others.
That's wonderful. Yes, I mean, I wasn't aware how many people and many filmmakers were being silenced a little bit until I saw that movie. What was it called? Sounds of Silence, about the children, and
Hmm.
they and
Oh,
they
you watched that one? Yeah, this
was
I still
hard to
don't
watch.
feel ready mentally, yeah, to watch. Yes,
But
absolutely. I mean,
but they made it very clear at the end that it took them 5 years to get it made, and I just thought that was such a shame.
but you see, like these kind of topics, they are, let's say, controversial for many filmmakers, or many of such topics, they will not never even be published, or they will never even happen because they will never get funding. Or if they get funding, people who are funding it, or the post production, let's say, the producers, sorry, they will decide on how to change the story. Or even if somehow, luckily, you can make it up, and then you will have huge problem with distribution. So yeah, all in all, it's not only that we are having, let's say, crap, sorry to say, or trash when it comes to movies, but it's also, yeah, we don't have it because, like, people are getting lazier and less ambitious as well, probably, but also because they have to consider their existence in this entire system. So it's a pretty complex thing. On the other hand, many people are not even aware how many, let's say, not dangerous, non-controversial topics and movies are programming us. I mean, this entire, like, Top Gun, it was such a popular movie. Not many people, and there are also some documentaries about it, not many people are aware that military service are sponsoring this kind of movies to sell some specific propaganda. Like, very often, even this earlier cinema, I wrote a couple of articles about it as well. There is also a question whether the Lumini brothers, they did it for business profit connections, or they really wanted to, help the cultural spectrum. Their actions were also, like, not clear. Hollywood, another topic. I mean, it's again, complex thing. Whatever you don't know, it's always about money, and when the money is broken, what you don't know is also broken. So if we can keep building a parallel, so to say, reality, and we are doing it as Bitcoiners, whether it's movies, fiction, writings, books, yeah, fashion, art, physical art, so many different ways, so many different areas. We are doing it. Let's keep doing. And then try to bring more and more people for that. Because also, when this current system collapses, finally, when it collapses, it's not going to be pleasant, and there will be a huge panic. Yeah.
And also more decentralized places like Nostr, all of those things that come
Oh yeah,
as
Nostr is actually, this is like my biggest love, I think. Yes, it's incredible. Like, I love it. Not, I mean, it is a protocol, so literally you can rebuild the entire internet. Like, I know that mostly people are using it as social clients, like, I don't know, Primal, Damos, Iris, Amethyst, whatever, right? Let's say equivalent of Twitter or any other social media. Though they don't even know that there are equivalents already, apps for Instagram if somebody is more into photos. But excluding the social media tools, there is, like, blogs, websites, music, videos, meetings, tools, like, so many things. I mean, because it's a protocol, you can build. And from what I understand, I'm not a developer, it's not that difficult. And the fact that it's already integrated with Lightning Network, so it's including this monetary system, so it's, like, also bringing new people to Bitcoin because they show that, yeah, it has value. Like, Bitcoin is not just one Bitcoin to hodl forever, but it's money that you can do something with. That, yeah, it's so incredible that you are rewarding others for their work in sats. Yeah, it's, yeah, Nostr. I love it. It's a pity. Actually, I didn't wear my start wearing purple T-shirt.
well,
Yeah,
our
it is
next
fun.
interview, you can have the purple. I love your t-shirt that you have now.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
but yeah,
I
Nostr is amazing.
it is. And just the one more thing about Nostr, we're not forced to see a certain algorithm or
Exactly. I can say you are your own algorithm because you decide who to follow, with who you engage, what kind of topics you are spending or having your focus on. So it is you who is your own algorithm. Also, there is no of this marketing noise, which is happening on any other platforms a lot, or some specific narratives that have to happen because it's serving somebody's agenda. So yes, this is a huge advantage. That's why it's a, let's say, freedom of speech, because first of all, you are allowed to say what you want. If people don't like it, naturally it will happen that you will be less popular, or you will have a niche of followers or friends you're hanging out with, but it's your life. But mostly, and the most important, what's the most important is like, yeah, you decide for your own who you are, what you read, what you consume from, how do you spend your time.
Do you think if somebody says something that's untrue, that maybe a lot of people follow, that the truth will eventually come to light?
So you mean like a public figure says something that is not truth, and this person is so powerful and popular that as a reverse, many people will realize that it was a lie and they will start seeing a truth?
Yeah, well, because this allows freedom of speech. So you can say whatever you like, whether it's true or not.
But are you referring now to Nostr or in general?
Just in
I'm a little
general,
confused.
either
Just in
place.
general.
Yeah.
I think it depends, to be honest. Yeah, it really depends. I mean, look at the modern world, or let's say the entire pandemic. I've been actually torn in between three different countries. So it was Austria, Germany, and Poland when this whole craziness happened. Let's say, luckily for me, I didn't buy this whole narrative from the very beginning. I was suspicious, and then especially comparing these three countries, how people were approaching each other, how they were approaching the nonsense regulations, I realized how scummy this whole thing was. So here, like, to your point, not necessary if you are a public person and non-person, if you tell the lie, people will understand that it's a lie and they will start seeking truth. Look how many sheep, so to say, like people who want to be told what to do, what to believe in, because it's easier, it's more, very fancy word recently, convenient, to do that. It can happen, it can trigger a lot of people. And again, here on the reverse side, this pandemic actually awakened many people. But I think it's more complex than that. It's not only about saying, maybe it's also about consequences and actions. Yeah, human beings are also a very interesting creature. So we can, up to some point, very blindly, let's say, not being completely free, believe into something and follow blindly something, up to the point that it will touch us personally. And then suddenly we just turn away. Like, I think a great example was with Mark Zuckerberg, not a big fan of him. So, and Facebook, when he wanted to launch this, what was the name of this?
His coin.
Libra, something like this, right? He wanted to have a token or a coin for Facebook. So people were supporting, and then suddenly they turned away when he changed some regulation, and Facebook stopped being that popular. Or he also did something in between. Like, I'm not using Facebook. I also not 100% follow this news, but I know that from one day having a lot of fans, he suddenly started to gain enemies publicly and through like a bigger organization. So I think it's complex. Definitely, it's good if you tell the lie, there are some visible proofs that it's a lie and people can experience it firsthand, especially when it hurts a little bit, because then you learn the fastest. But it's more complex than that. I also believe, on the other hand, that there will be some people who will, even knowing that it's a lie, who will still accept it and follow. It's here like analogy to the Matrix movie, the first from the trilogy. There was one guy who betrayed the entire crew, and who wanted to go back to the system and to the simulation, knowing that it's a simulation, but it was better for him. I'm sure that there are a lot of individuals around us like this. They chose their life. Sad.
Yeah, The Matrix. So that was one of the good movies. It did teach us some lessons.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
yeah. So just for the last question, I know we've spoken about freedom quite a lot, but what does freedom mean to you?
What freedoms mean to me? Yeah, deep question. I wanted to answer. To feel safe. This is very important, that people are, I think, forgetting about the biggest thing that we are given. This is also freedom, that I'm allowed to leave my house and to survive. Nobody is going to attack me, kill me. I'm not going to be arrested. None of the, let's say, regulators are coming and then attacking you. It's also like some other people. This is also the freedom to be alive, to be happy, to say what I want, to be where I want to be, with whom I want to be. So freedom, yeah, and it has many different spectrums, I would say, but it starts with safety, and with being given the right to be who you want to be, as long as you don't hurt other people. Let me put it this way.
And as you were sharing, I was also thinking also freedom in my mind, where I'm free to think freely about the
Yes, so
world.
that's why, yeah, to be who you want to be, so that your mind is also free, so that you are thinking clearly and for yourself. You are not forced to take somebody's thoughts and opinions, but you can just collect different information to structure your own way of thinking. And you are also free to change your way of thinking. You shouldn't be also criticized or judged of that. As long, of course, this is always, there is this thin line that we can go, into the from the bright to the dark side. But overall, yes, just to be who you want to be, as long as you don't hurt others. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Shayla. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, Paula. Thank you. My pleasure.